Hello and welcome to the Red Jacket Club. My name is Andy. I'm here with my friend Brendan. This is where we talk Cardinals baseball. Today is Sunday, February 12th. We're just a couple weeks away from Cardinals starting spring training games, and we couldn't be more excited. Brendan, how are you feeling as we're getting into to spring training? I'm so tired of football. It is Super Bowl Sunday, I should say, and
Yeah.
I'm tired of every other sport. LeBron, congratulations to you and everything you just did, but like, let's go. I'm done.
Yeah, yep, I'm the same way. Trevor Plouffe put it best whenever he said this is the dog days of the off season.
Yeah,
That was a term that I've never heard before, and now like it really makes sense. It is the dog days of the off season. We're almost through football. We'll see who wins that. Well, who do you got first off?
I mean, Missouri, I guess I have to say the Chiefs. I really haven't been paying any attention, even though I play fantasy football. I haven't been paying any attention to football this
Yeah.
year. So, I just needed to not lose my league, and that was fine with me. But yeah, I guess I'll just say a proxy vote for the Chiefs, being from Missouri.
Yeah, I don't even have any Chiefs gear at all, and there's a lot of bandwagon fans, and I don't know. Maybe I'll get on the train of the Chiefs if they win. I'll hop on the bandwagon, but yeah, it'll just be a good game just to watch objectively.
Hmm.
Not really care who
Right.
wins. I did put a dollar bet, one of my bigger bets, on the Chiefs today, so just to see, it would be cool for Mahomes, I guess. But even though
Yeah.
some people don't like him, but I don't know. We'll see.
He is truly though like one of the greater athletes in the sport. It's just kind of
Yeah,
crazy some of the stuff that he's able to do. But
for
and I
sure.
feel bad saying like that all the time, but I just don't pay attention to a lot of other sports.
Yeah,
I
it,
wish I could. I'm just the odd man out where I find baseball super fascinating and interesting, and I find every other sport slow and boring.
yeah.
And
It doesn't help that the Blues just
yeah,
traded away like Tarasenko, and now they're
yeah.
gonna start to plummet a little bit. And so, I mean, yeah, it just makes the Cardinals baseball even more valuable.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, though, the Blues did get a pretty good turnaround. They're going to have a first round draft pick for Tarasenko, from what I understand, and so
Yeah.
maybe that means that there's a future ahead that's pretty bright, like there looks to be for the Cardinals. But before we get into what we plan on doing today, Brendan, there was some news around the league. Do you want to get into some of the things that happened in Cardinals news and then also in other news?
Yeah, the biggest thing that happened with the Cardinals, which isn't big at all, I think a lot of this kind of came out. I feel like a lot of people knew about this move, but the Cardinals bought a lefty from the Royals. He's a lefty reliever, had a lot of starting experience early in his career. It looks like he was up and down from the big leagues back to minors. Kind of one of those low risk, high reward type
Hmm.
moves that we like to make. Seems like the Cardinals are attracted to his strikeout rate over his career, including minors. He's got a 9 strikeouts per nine, which is pretty solid. So it seems like they're looking for those strikeout guys since we do have the guys that can induce ground balls and stuff. Now we're trying to be like, okay, who's going to come in and get the strikeouts? So he's a good candidate. By the way, I didn't even mention his name. Anthony, I'm not even going to attempt.
Mizowich is what I would
Oh,
say.
there you go. Mizowich. Yeah, Anthony Mizowich came over from the Royals. Let's see, this last year, he 29 innings pitched in the big leagues, 4.34 ERA. Had a pretty good FIP, which is fielding independent pitching, which basically means he should have had a better ERA. But I don't know. I'm not going to dive too deep into it. It's just a lefty pitcher, lefty reliever that has potential to get some strikeouts in the bullpen. So kind of a not a big storyline there.
Hmm.
Uh, and then the next thing, Yu Darvish gets 6 years, a 6 year extension from the Padres, a total of 108 million dollars,
Hmm.
and that signs him through I think his 42 season.
Yeah,
Is that
it
what it
does.
was?
It was.
Yeah,
Because when
yeah.
I saw
So
6 years, I was like, wait a minute. I
I
thought this
know.
guy was kind of close to the end of his career.
Hmm.
And they're I mean, the league, it's interesting. They're big on old old pitching nowadays. A lot of teams seem to be investing in guys that they, I guess, can think they can put some longevity into. So yeah, I was surprised when I saw 6 years.
Yeah, me too. I thought Darvish might have been one of those players that's like, oh, I didn't realize he was that young because after the 6 year extension, you're like, oh yeah, maybe he is like 32 or something. But
Yeah.
nope, he'll be pitching for the Padres until he's 42 years old, and we'll see. I mean, he had a great year last year. He's one of the better pitchers over the last decade. So, yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, it works out for him, or hopefully not if we ever have to face him. And then the last thing here is the Dodgers signed Alex Reyes, one of our top prospects that we had for the last couple of years. Just never put it together at the major league level. Injuries, walks, all that stuff. I will say I'm a little nervous though, because if anyone's going to turn this guy into the prospect that he was, it will be the Dodgers. So I'm a little nervous to see because it does happen a lot with the Cardinals where we let go of a guy and then he just goes off.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that this could be one of those guys. I
Hmm.
could see him having the opportunity to be one of the Dodgers' elite relievers in their bullpen. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the breaks really. When it comes to guys going off when they leave the Cardinals, it's just because they're getting a different perspective than what we were giving them. Now, that's not to say that the Cardinals have a bad perspective. They just have a different way of viewing the game. And the thing that kept Alex Reyes from breaking out was just he couldn't stay healthy. So that's not really the Cardinals' fault. So if he does stay healthy and he does end up doing well for the Dodgers, yeah, you'll hear people complaining that, oh, well, every time the Cardinals trade somebody, it's because they can't handle them or they can't coach them or whatever. Um, I think you're right. The Dodgers do have the staff to be able to turn him around. He just has to be able to stay on the field in order to do that. But it is pretty interesting. I saw a tweet from Quinn STL Cards. He's out there a lot, spreading his knowledge and different things about Cardinals baseball, and he just threw something out there saying, I'm pretty sure aside from Jordan Walker, that Shelby Miller and Alex Reyes have been the two most highly ranked Cardinals prospects since MLB Pipeline existed, and now they're both on the Dodgers. So I thought that was just an interesting tweet regarding that move.
Dodgers are cleaning up all of our old prospects, or they're attempting to at least.
Yeah. Well, and it also just goes to show that um, like you always say, you can't trust your prospects. You just
Yeah.
never know what's going to happen. So yeah, I mean,
Sometimes.
I hope he is able to stay healthy. I hope every player is able to stay healthy. But at the same time, he just never showed that when he was here. So I think that's why the Cardinals had to release him.
Yeah. Yep.
So do you want to get into it? I think that was our last bit of news.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and get into the draft. Before we start, I just want to say that we have no idea how this is going to go.
Yeah,
So we have a general idea. Some of the rules, I guess I'll mention here. We're basically just picking any player off the 26-man roster, and we're only going to pick two starters and two relievers to shorten the draft a little bit. So it'll be 20 total draft picks. I don't think it should take too long.
I don't
We
think so.
probably won't hit on too many players in depth. We'll kind of go over why we picked them at certain times, which, like I said, I have nothing really prepared for this. I'm just gonna pick who I think is most valuable. So yeah, I mean, other than that, you have any other rules we got to go over before we start?
Nope, that's my game plan is just to think of who I like the most and and try to
Yeah.
defend my decision.
Oh, and we should
Um,
mention that we will be monitoring this throughout the season. So we'll have
yeah,
a few episodes, maybe at the deadline, or I'm sorry, the All-Star break or something, where we can be like, okay, who's winning now? And we're just gonna compare our list and see how we do.
sure. Let me see if I can't share my screen presently. Okay, hold on.
I do like these Sunday morning episodes. So I got my coffee, nice morning, but got a lot to do today.
All right. Hopefully, can you see that?
Um, I can see it.
Hopefully, all that
I
wasn't
see.
for the recording to not get this.
Yeah.
But what I have up is a flip a coin generator on Google,
Yep.
uh, and I'll let you call it, Brendan. We're at Super Bowl Sunday, so we're at half field. Um,
Yeah.
which way do you want to go downfield? I get what do you want to pick? Heads or tails?
I'm gonna pick heads.
Okay, flip. Exciting, exciting. Tails.
Oh, it's
So
tails.
I get the first pick. That's what that
Oh.
decided.
All right. Andy is the first. So this, I will say, I'm gonna preface this pick. This is probably the most, probably the hardest pick here, in my opinion.
I don't think
So
so. I think it's clear.
you think it's clear?
I think it's clear.
Well,
It's no.
whoever you don't pick, I'm happy to take the other one.
It's Nolan Arenado.
All
I'm
right,
I'm picking
easy.
Nolan, because I mean it's so hard to repeat such a great season. I love Paul Goldschmidt. I hope that that doesn't come off as anything other but love. But Nolan is just he's coming into the season with that MVP 3 vote. Like everybody's got him at the top of his mind, and like we said, I mean he's at least the top five third baseman in the league according to the league commentators. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I mean, we went through it. I think he's the best third baseman, all around defender in MLB right now. I love defense. I love his approach to the plate. You can't go wrong with Nolan Arenado. I don't think I have much else to say.
Yeah, I agree. I probably would have done the same thing, even though Goldie, obviously, I mean, like I said, whoever gets Arenado or Goldie, the other one's going first. So that
Right.
just goes right into my pick, which obviously is going to be Goldschmidt. And that's one of the easiest first rounds you could do. Whoever picks the other one will
Yeah.
have the other superstar, right?
Right.
So that made that first round really easy. I don't think there's going to be any arguments with that at all. Now it's going to get a little interesting after those two
Yeah.
picks, though.
So I think I'm gonna dip into my pitcher picks. So I'm gonna take one of
Ooh,
my pitchers
ooh,
as number two, um,
wow.
and I mean I've been defending him all off season. I've been hoping that he takes the reins of the rotation, and I'm gonna say Miles Michaelis is my second pick
Hmm.
because a lot of people have been shitting on him, saying that he's nothing better than a four spot in the rotation or something like that, lower in the rotation. But then all those same people were wanting Pablo Lopez so badly, and like I kept saying, they're the exact same player, like almost statistically exact.
Right.
So if Pablo Lopez was the target, then Miles Michaelis is my target for somebody who has so much potential to pop off. I mean, he was over 200 innings pitched last season. If he does even just 180, we have enough out of Miles. Um, yeah, I think he's a great, like you said when we were talking about him, a Cardinals pitcher, somebody who knows how to pitch to contact and get the ground ball. It's going to be interesting to watch all these guys work with Wilson Contreras, but Miles, I think, is going to be pretty interesting as well, just because of the dynamic. And so you know, yeah, I guess I really like Miles for this next season and hope that he's going to pitch really well.
Yeah, you made it extremely difficult. I was kind of hoping you would stick with the offense so I could also go with the offense, but now I feel like I might have to go with the pitcher, and now I'm a little stressed. I can't really.
I mean, I'm playing to win.
Yeah, no, that was a great pick. I like that because Michaelis is probably gonna be
He's
reliable
got the
for
most
around.
upside. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be out there pitching for us. He'll most likely be healthy the whole season. You can't really go wrong. He's probably not gonna blow up either on you.
Yeah.
So I don't see him having a bad season. So that's obviously a great pick. But uh, dang it, I'm worried what your next pick is gonna be too. which
If
I
I can
really
give
hope
you a
is.
hint, he wears number 11.
Uh,
That's just a joke.
who wears number 11?
Paul DeYoung.
Oh.
Jose Canseco.
Yeah, I was like, wait, we don't have our first base coach used to wear 11. I forgot we had an 11. So anyway, I think I am gonna make another offensive pick. I gotta go with Contreras here, and this was a tough decision because there's another player I was having my eyes on, but
Mm-hmm.
Contreras. So he has a great season last year, obviously. Let's see. Let me dig into a few stats. 815 OPS, 22 home runs, 55 RBI. Solid guy, solid player, in a really bad Cubs lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine what he's gonna do in a Cardinals lineup. He's gonna hit right after two superstars in Goldie and Arenado. So I gotta pick this guy. Now, another thing to note is I was looking at some of his StatCast stats. He's in the 94th percentile of expected weighted on base average, which means he hits the ball hard. He hits the ball hard consistently. He should be, I don't know, his batting average is expected to go up. His slugging is expected to go up. Every peripheral number you look at is looking really good for Contreras. So I don't see any kind of regression coming for him. He's really in his prime right now at 30 years old. So I think it's a pretty good pick,
I
but
agree.
I am nervous about not getting a pitcher. What do you think?
No, if I wasn't gonna go with a pitcher, I was gonna go with Contreras. I mean, the three there. No, it's still insane. Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt, and Wilson Contreras. I mean, that's a big three. Not a lot of people are focusing on it because it's the St. Louis Cardinals, but I mean, you think about other big threes that are in lineups over time. I mean, hopefully, like you said, it seems like all these guys are on an upward trajectory, barring any injury. I think that this is going to be a massive offensive lineup that we've been waiting for. Um, and yeah, I think 2023 is going to be great just by those three being in the lineup alone.
Yep, I agree.
Um, I have to go next to one of the middle infielders. I'm a
Okay.
middle infielder at heart, so I have to stick with my guns and what I know. And what I know is the Cardinals should extend Tommy Edman.
Hey,
What I know is I'm picking Tommy Edman as my third round pick because um, he's he's just everything you can hope for in a shortstop, second baseman. He's all over the field, and he's got the contact numbers in order to be that now second leadoff man at the bottom of that lineup. I think that's where he'll best fit. He was just a little bit over average when it came to weighted runs created plus last season. But he's also kind of on the lower end when it comes to things like strikeout percentage. He's stealing bases like crazy, which I also love.
mm-hmm.
And he didn't make any of the middle infielder lists. Again, talking about MLB Network and their backwards way of looking at things. This guy had a 5.6 WAR last season, so he's definitely the guy that you want in your lineup when it comes to I mean, just giving you what you need to win ball games. So I think Tommy Edman's a great value.
Yep, that is a really good pick. Another pick where you can't really go wrong. Similar to your Michaelis pick, you're playing the game where it's like these guys are going to be solid, and
Hmm.
we don't have too much doubt about it. Now, man, I'm having some tough decisions. Do I want to take like a flyer pick, or do I want to like establish some pitching?
I have
Uh,
no idea what to do.
Give me a second. Let me do a quick research real quick here.
I know what I'm doing if you don't do what I'm about to do.
Okay.
How do you like that expert analysis?
Yeah, that is some good analysis there. if you don't do what I think you're gonna do, I will do the other thing. It's basically my analysis on the first pick that we talked about. Okay, well, since I am obsessed with these sabermetrics,
Yeah.
I have to go with the Newt.
Yeah.
So,
I was kind of just leaving them there so that you could have them. I
yeah,
knew that you wanted them.
yeah. I have to, man. And I was thinking about going pitching there. Depending on what you'll do, then I'm gonna explain why I didn't. But
Hmm.
I don't know. I do love Baseball Savant. I love those numbers that I even just noted about Contreras.
Hmm.
Lars Nootbaar looks almost even better. Well, not better, but he looks really good when it comes to the Statcast stats. So he's in the 82nd percentile of expected weighted on base average. Hits the ball super hard. His hard hit percentage is at 80%. Expected batting average could be a little bit better, but his expected slug looks good. His walk rate is in the 98th percentile. His chase rate is in the 92nd percentile. So he's got, for such a young player, he's got the discipline that he needs. Now, coming away from those sabermetrics, he also hit 14 home runs in 106 games. So he's got that starting role in right field this year. I'm feeling the energy from Newt. I think he's pumped, ready to go. I've seen some of the videos in the offseason about him. So I had to do it. I didn't
Yeah.
want to lose him. I think he might have a monster year.
I think so too. And I think him being in the World Baseball Classic, getting to be around a different style of baseball will be interesting to see how that affects him. And then also, like you said, I mean, he's got everything going for him. Love seeing him in the hitting lab, doing the motion capture swinging, which is pretty cool to
Yep.
watch. And it just looks like he's preparing to be the one of the better offensive players. I hope that he doesn't focus too much on exit velo. I liked his approach last season. So no need to like swing as hard as you can, but at the same time, I don't think that you can go wrong with Newt Bar. He's a great outfielder. I think he's got a lot going for him when people start to see him every day. In terms of more of the league, I definitely, obviously think that every Cardinal could win a Gold Glove, but he's certainly got the potential to do that also.
Yeah,
Um,
he's in the 94th percentile of arm strength, and
yeah,
he's in the
yeah. I
64th of outs above average. So he,
forgot to even bring that up, how good he is at outfield assists. There's that one play at third base. I can't remember who he threw out. For some reason, I feel like it was a Cub, but he's lasered a ball from right field over to Nolan, and it was such a great play.
yeah, yeah. So it's kind of a little bit of a risky pick, I will say. He could either go off this year or he'll end the year in AAA, and I hate to say that, but
Yeah,
that is reality. So we'll see.
yeah. With my next pick, I'm doing exactly what I said I was going to do when when I told you that cryptic message.
Yeah.
I'm picking Ryan Helsley.
Okay.
um, because I mean, how can you not after the season that he had last year? Yeah, he blew up and was possibly the reason we did not make it further in the playoffs. But barring any, like, forgetting everything that happened in the playoffs, I mean, this guy was lights out, had a 1.25 ERA, all-star year, 2.7 WAR, and he had a whip of 0.742, which is just godly. So um, Hell's Bells, man, I'm here for it. I think he's going to be again. I mean, he took the spot from Jordan Hicks last year, and I think he's solidified himself in it. So I think we got a closer for several years to come, and I kind of really like just watching Ryan Helsley come in at the end of the game, knowing that we can rely on him to close things out when we're ahead.
Yeah, that's a really good pick. You're making this really tough on me. I think that first draft, that coin flip is super important in this little two-man draft that
Yeah,
we have going because
yeah, we should
I
add a
can't.
third person probably, but
No,
I'll
it's
take one of that.
fun. It's fun because I don't know whether to follow you or like pick up other players.
Hmm.
It's a really fun concept. So with that being said, that was a really good pick. And now I feel like I have to go pitching. But the question is,
Which pitcher?
which pitcher do I go? I mean, your reel that you made just got me fired up, dude.
I know.
And I think there's a good chance he puts together a good season.
I'm
I
so
gotta
excited, dude.
I gotta do it, man. I gotta go with my boy Jack.
Hmm.
There's a little bit of hate. I don't want to say hate around Jack right now. Just a little bit of pressure, I will say, from the Cardinals fan base on Jack Flaherty. But that reel that you posted of him just saying that he's gonna go beyond expectations this year. He said, we always compare him to the 2019
Hmm.
Jack. He said he's gonna crush those expectations. And I believe him. I mean, we all know his work ethic. I mean, I follow him on Instagram. He's got that bulldog mentality. And I don't know. I think he's just gonna silence all the noise and do what he does best, and that is pitching and becoming an ace for this club. And I think he'll get back to that 2019 Jack. I might have disagreed with myself on other episodes, but the more I think about it, the more I'm excited for him.
Yeah. There was a Post Dispatch article that I read. I can't remember the writer, but it was about Jack. When he showed up in spring training this year, and he said again basically the same thing that we heard from him at the winter warmups is like there's a lot of criticism, and you hear it from a lot of guys. But we know what we have. I know what I have. And basically leaning to saying, stop worrying about us. Like we're fine. We know we're fine. We'll figure this out. And yeah, I just think he's internalizing all of that, not in a negative way. I think he's using that as a fire and a motivation to really go out there and prove everybody wrong. And I really hope that he does because I mean, it is his free agent year. I hope that the Cardinals get their head out of their butts and start paying people. I mean, I'm still surprised at what we gave Wilson Contreras, but besides that, I think Jack is definitely, if he proves himself this year, definitely deserves a decent contract. And I hope the Cardinals give it to him, man. I hope that this year is the year for Jack.
I hope so too. I think a lot of people do. And we talked about how we need to sign an ace. We need to sign a high upside pitcher. And I mean, Jack could be that guy that
Hmm.
we need, that the whole Cardinals fan base thinks we need. And he could carry this rotation. And now that's another iffy pick, though. I mean,
Yeah,
I just picked two kind of on the line picks. I kind of like where you're going, where you got the old reliables, and I'm going for
yeah.
the risky type moves. So we'll see.
Honestly, I thought that this draft was going to go different, and I think you're right. I think it had to do with the coin flip. I was like, if he gets first pick, he's just going to pick everybody that
Yeah.
that I'm going to want. So I started thinking about like all the fringe picks that had upside potential.
I
Um,
guess we could have done a snake. That would have maybe helped a little bit, but to where I don't know. Maybe next time we'll do that. But
well, yeah, or maybe hopefully we can do it with somebody else. And have a couple more people in to take away some of the picks.
yeah,
Um,
but it's fun nonetheless. This is a
Either
good time.
way, yeah. I mean, and I say that, and now I'm going to go with a fringe pick that has upside potential. So my next pick is going to be Tyler O'Neill, for all the same reasons we just said about Jack Flaherty. He hasn't been really in the media a whole lot. He's been saying that he feels good. He's been working out with Jim Edmonds, which if you're going to, I mean, say what you say about Jim Edmonds in the booth. Jim Edmonds on the field was a great fielder, great hitter, and he was a great Cardinal. So he's a good resource to go to when it comes to playing the game, not so much talking about the game. But Tyler O'Neill is the guy that I am just so excited for right there with Jack Flaherty. I think he has every bit of upside potential from a injury season. I'm happy that he's coming into the season healthy. Um, and again, you can say the same thing. I hope he gets back to 21 O'Neill because 21 O'Neill was absolutely insane. I should have his stuff up while we're talking about him. But um, I mean, there's nothing that you can say that. I mean, I'm trying to even articulate myself why I shouldn't pick Tyler O'Neill. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a two-time Gold Glove outfielder. Has again a good arm, has range like no other. You wouldn't think it, but like just because he's such a stocky guy, like you think of people like Giancarlo Stanton who don't really like move around the field a whole lot. You would think that Tyler O'Neill would just be a DH only, but I mean he's an incredible outfielder. In that 21 season, he had an OPS of 912 and OPS plus of 148. Um, so many doubles, 26 doubles, and 34 home runs. Like this guy was just hitting the ball, hitting extra base hits. I think he's coming back to that. I don't know why we haven't seen a lot of video like we have with other players, but I think it's really just using the resource. He said he spent most of the offseason in St. Louis. So he's been here working out, getting his strength back. I think Tyler O'Neill's the next big swing up pick, and that's why I want him.
Yeah, you're really high on O'Neal, which you should be. He's got, I mean, it's kind of the same pick as Flaherty. If he can
But
stay healthy and do what that we know he can do, then he's just gonna be one of the best power hitters in the game, and there's no doubt about that. He just has to stay healthy, and that's the main thing.
mhm.
So I like that pick because obviously I'm gambling a little bit here, but I will move on and get a little bit of an old reliable pick, even though we haven't seen too much of him. But I do want to shore up my pitching, and I'm going to go ahead and pick Jordan Montgomery,
There you go.
mainly because you're going to be stuck with, well, I mean, I'm sure you'll get Wayno, but mainly because Flaherty and Montgomery, in my opinion, is a pretty good duo. I think Monty
hmm
will be good for 170 plus innings. Hopefully, he'll just get the ground balls that he normally does get. Our defense plays for him, and he'll just be that middle of the rotation guy that we don't really think about whenever he's on the mound. We don't have to stress. We just kind of know he's going to go out there, do his thing, and pitch a good game.
Yeah, I agree. That's a decent pick. I was it's not nice to say, but it's between him or Wayno at this point when it comes to starting pitching. And to leave Steven Matz out just means that we haven't seen anything from him really.
Yeah.
Um, but for Montgomery, I mean, I still go to that complete game back in August when he first came over. I think that was against the Cubs.
Yeah.
And you just don't see that a whole lot anymore. So the tenacity, the aggression, and his ability to adapt to that new coaching staff that really helped him figure out his fastball, like you
Yep.
mentioned when we talked about him. Yeah, I think that he's again, there's a lot of upside potential with him, and not a lot of downside. So yeah, if I wasn't so sentimental, I would have probably picked Jordan Montgomery. But if you don't have anything else about Montgomery, I'm going to go on to my next pick.
We're good. Let's move on to round six.
I'm picking Adam Wainwright just to
Okay.
round out the starting pitching on my end. Um, because, like I said, I'm so sentimental. I mean, how can you not be with the organization? But how can you not be with Adam Wainwright? I mean, he's already kind of going on. I don't want to say this, but I'm gonna say it. I feel like he may have. Well, he had probably a lot of reasons for not going out with Albert and Yachty last season, but I think in the back of his mind, he kind of was like, I should probably have my own parade. I should have my own uh, so long tour, and he may have felt outshined by the other two, and maybe just was being selfless and wanted them to have their own since they were hermanos. They were friends from the beginning. So, but regardless, Adam Wainwright's my pick because I think he's going to pass that 200 win threshold. He said this winter meeting he wants to make his way up in Cardinals history, where he would pass, I think, 219. I can't remember the player that's sitting at 219, but he's hoping that he can get that that far in the rankings to where he can make his way up in Cardinals history. Um, last season he just had a old Wayno year, like 3.71 ERA, not bad at all. He pitched in 32 games. He started all 32 of those games, obviously. And he's just reliable. He's going to give you 180 plus innings. He's going to give you a great performance on the field, and he's going to go out there and shove it in your face. So I'm picking the old man. I'm going with Adam Wainwright.
Yeah, you talked about a couple reasons of why he didn't retire. I think he was a little unsettled about how the season ended,
Yeah.
which makes me a little bit worried. Even though he is a professional pitcher, he thinks he knows what happened. He's shortened that stride, so you would think he's going to have another Wayno season just to ride out into the sunset.
Hmm.
With your round 6 pick, I will be going offense once again, and I'm going to pick up my boy Brendan Donovan. We
Yep.
share the same name. I should have picked him first overall
Brendan
because of that.
Brendan Brothers.
Yeah, the brothers, right? So mainly why I did this is I think he will be in the lineup mostly every day. The shift is going away, and he's a contact guy, so he should be finding those holes on the right side, on the left side as well. And he just a solid guy that I think is going to probably slot into that leadoff spot. He's going to have that lineup protection since who comes after him. So most likely he'll be getting as many fastballs as he needs, and he'll be seeing pitches for the team. I think he's going to play a pretty important role, even though I will say this is kind of a tough pick for me, but I think in the long run it probably will work out.
Yeah, I mean, how can you go wrong with a guy who is up there in the Rookie of the Year votes?
Right.
He he's definitely a force to be reckoned with at the top of that lineup. And like you said, when he's going to get all these pitches to start off the game or lead off the lineup, he's only going to be better. I mean, that contact rate is insane. His ability to work a count is insane. He's if he just continues what he's doing, he's such a young guy, but has such an veteran approach at the plate. And I think there's nothing but upside to Brendan Donovan. Um, yeah, I don't think you can go wrong there.
All right, let's move on to round 7. What do you got?
I again, I haven't been picking on the fringe, but I think I'm going to do that here because I really want to see what the shift band does for this young gentleman.
Are you taking
Um,
him?
I'm going to go with Nolan Gorman. I don't know if
Yeah,
that's
that's a
what you
good
were
pick.
thinking.
Yeah.
So Nolan last season, I was not high on him because it was hard to watch him play second base. And obviously, defense is only half the game. But when everybody was talking about how great this kid was, it was hard to kind of get my head wrapped around that when it wasn't showing on the field. But when it comes to his offensive statistics, he really didn't shy away from his true potential. He had 30 home runs last season between AAA and the major league season. In 89 major league games, he had 14 home runs. So this guy's got massive power. I mean, he was hitting them like almost 400 feet every time. His strikeout percentage is a little up there, but at the same time, he can hone that in. We was probably worried about the shift a lot. So again, it's just going to be interesting to see what that does for a lot of these players. But some of these young players that probably played the sport the whole time with the shift, it's going to be interesting to see how it affects Nolan Gorman.
Yeah, it's a really good pick. And if we would have seen this draft last year, and you would have seen that I picked Lars Nootbaar over Nolan Gorman, or any of these guys really over Nolan Gorman, we
Hmm.
would have been like, what happened in the 2022 season? Nothing really happened, other than some other guys stepping up, like Nootbaar and Donovan. And really, Gorman had a great showing. I think I think we're really overlooking Gorman, but it is that
Hmm.
kind of risky pick where he could end the season in AAA. I don't really
Right.
think that'll happen. I think he'll have a role with us, and I think he's going to hit tons of home runs. It will come with some strikeouts, but in my opinion, that's okay. We've got guys like Edman and Donovan and Newbar, those young guys who see the ball really well, take their walks when they're given to them. So I really like Gorman. That's to get him in round 7. I'm a little worried. I think he's going to be really solid this year.
Yeah.
So with my round 7 pick, I got to go with his potential platoon partner, and that'll be Juan Yepes. I
Hmm.
think I don't want to say we're really overlooking him, but people aren't really talking about him. He played in 76 games this last year with 12 home runs, which is like super impressive,
Yeah.
for an OPS of 743. And I don't know, just a solid player. Not really much to say other than he learned a ton from Pujols this year, which I'm excited to hear that about. Um, and yeah, nothing else really to say. We'll see how he does.
Yeah, it was interesting to see this past week. He is apparently also in that same hitting lab, I think, or he was just hitting with Wilson Contreras. So, what I like about this guy is that he's seeking out veterans. It seems like not a lot of guys. I mean, obviously, not a lot of teams have a whole lot of veteran talent, but and everybody's just kind of coming up together uh, to the caliber, I mean, of of Albert Pujols. But this guy took an opportunity to seek that knowledge, and then it seems right away, as soon as Wilson Contreras is on the team, he's going to the next guy. So it seems like he's really trying to get as much information as he can from these guys who've been playing the game for a long time. And like you said, 76 games, 12 home runs, that's not bad at all. Um, it just I think the reason people aren't looking at him is because he was hurt for a good chunk of the season. But when he came
Yeah.
back, I mean, he that was a pinch hit home run he had in that first game, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
So, I mean, this guy's not going to waver under pressure. He's definitely a strong offensive pick. That's why, like I think you said, he'll likely platoon in the DH position with Nolan Gorman. So, um, yeah, I think that's exciting.
Yep, we'll see. So we'll go ahead and move on to round 8.
All right, I'm rounding out my pitchers, um, and I have to go with this guy just based off of again what he did last year. Um, and I'm gonna pick Andre Palante because the man just apparently didn't want to not pitch. When the Cardinals needed him, he was there, and every single step of the way he produced, and he produced big. So he had a ERA of 3.17 last season, over 108 innings pitched, and he was starting a lot of those games. He started 10 of the 47 games that he pitched, and whether he was in the bullpen or whether he was on the mound to start the game, he was complete lights out pitching. So I think that he's got a lot to not prove. I don't know what I'm saying, but he's got a lot of potential to be a great arm in the bullpen, especially to facilitate those late innings if a pitcher can't get past the fifth inning or something like that, and get us to Helsley. I think he's going to be able to bridge that gap and give us a lot of late inning relief.
Yeah, and the thing with Palante, and he was on my target list, by the way. I was probably going to get him in round 8. But the thing with him is you're not really getting just a relief pitcher. He'll probably make some starts, especially if Matt shows that he can't be a starting
Hmm.
pitcher, stay in the rotation. Then Palante is probably the first guy up. So you've got potential for him to be a starter at the end of the year, which obviously if he does do that, he'll have more value than probably, I mean, a lot of the guys on my list. So
Hmm.
just the simple fact of him potentially being a good starter for us, even though he is in the relief role, helps you a lot. So that's a really good pick. So for my round 8 pick, I'm gonna go with Carlson. So Carlson we got to keep in mind, he is 24 years old, right? He's 24
Yeah.
years old. He's got an everyday role in center field. He's a year removed from a 780 OPS in
Hmm.
2021. So he was a really solid player just a year ago. And he had 18 home runs in that 2021 season. I am a little nervous, even though I'm going to blame it on just having a sophomore slump. But the reason why I am a little nervous is because his sabermetrics are not good at all. His expected weighted on base average, he's in the 31st percentile, which
Hmm.
just says that he's not up there with it's not like he's doing the right things, right? He's not really hitting the ball hard. His average exit velocity is in the 7th percentile. His hard hit percentage is in the 4th percentile. So
Hmm.
he doesn't hit the ball hard, uh, but we'll see. I mean, he's one of those guys that could put up another 780 OPS a year, and we won't be too surprised about it. So I'm kind of hoping for his higher potential, and we'll see. But I just didn't want to get stuck with some of the bench guys. So
Yeah, I understand that, but I don't think you can go wrong with Dylan Carlson. Like you said, he is still young and he's got that everyday role. His arm, again, is pretty impeccable from center field. He's a great center fielder when it comes to his range. Not sure. I was looking into my next pick, so I'm not sure if you brought up his fielding statistics, but
he's 84th percentile in outs above average and
yeah.
in the 88th percentile of arm strength.
Yeah, so and that's something that I really focused on when it came to what we were talking about in our outfielders episode, is that he outshines anybody else on this team in center field. So um, I agree with John Mozeliak with him wanting to stick to his guns with Dylan Carlson as our center fielder. It's going to be interesting to see how his bat comes around because, like we said in that outfield discussion. It really looked like he was leaking out his front side when he was hitting from the left side of the plate. And I kind of wish he would just throw out the whole switch thing, hitting thing together and just hit from the right side. But if he is going to hit from the left side, that he is able to wait back on the slow off-speed pitches. If he's able to do that, then he'll come around, especially with the shift going away.
Yep, I agree.
So I'm not. I have my pitchers are all taken, and there's not a lot left. I mean, we have to go with bench players.
Right.
So I could either go with a sympathetic pick, or I could go with a pick that I think will actually go in my favor. But I think I'm going to be sympathetic because this guy's getting a lot of shit, and
Oh, don't
I'm
do it.
I'm not saying that he deserves it, but he kind of
Oh,
does. And I mean, who else am I going to pick?
Burleson maybe.
I was going to, but then I felt bad because we only have two people, and then my list is stacked. I'm gonna
No,
go with Paul
I'm
DeYoung.
good.
I'm
I got
I'm
two
going with
relief
Paul
picks.
DeYoung. It's
Yep.
my
Okay.
it's my sympathetic pick to him, because I think of 2018. I don't think of all the shit. I don't think of him not playing last year because he couldn't. Not saying that he was hurt. I'm saying that he literally didn't know how to play the game of baseball last year.
Yeah.
But um, But when you think about 2018, I'm pretty sure that was the season. It was either that or 19. 2018. It was 2019. He had 30 home runs in 2019. That's a shortstop, by the way. Um, he had 25 home runs in 2017, and then in 2018 he had 19. But in that 2019 season, his strikeout percentage was under 10. Or I'm sorry, that's his walk percentage. His strikeout percentage was 22%, which is still low compared to a lot of guys. And what you're seeing is a complete upward trajectory of that number going into 21, 22 seasons. Um, and obviously, every sabermetric is going to say that this guy's not going to be a good baseball player. But the thing that really think that I'm going to like twist around on is that it really seems as though he's starting to listen to the people who are coaching him to play the game. Now, that may sound weird, but apparently he just wasn't listening to the Cardinals coaching staff. And I don't know who on the staff he wasn't listening to. It obviously had to have been the hitting staff because his numbers declined incredibly over the last couple of seasons. But it apparently he's been in Florida training since before we signed Wilson Contreras. So he's been down there working, and I mean, of course he has to, or else he's not going to be on the team. But I think that is the biggest factor in him coming back this season. It's going to take a lot for him to get the starting spot, and he obviously won't from Tommy Edman. But when Tommy Edman needs an off day, I think that his preparation for this season will at least go a long way to fill that hole, instead of just having nobody to be there.
Yep, we'll see. He's gonna get those spot starts, but I'm a little nervous that at the end, by the end of the season, he could be released. I don't know. I feel bad saying that, but if he doesn't put it together quickly, he's got a really short leash for us, and I don't know. And we'll see. It's a flyer pick, but I will say I developed a strategy about halfway through the draft, and I was like, okay, I don't want to be stuck with DeYoung, so I was like, okay, my last two picks are going to be relievers.
Yeah.
And so that brings it to my round 9 pick, which is going to be Gallegos. I think that's a pretty solid pick for the 9th round. I like that you got Palante. I did think you were going to go for Gallegos, but we dove into Gallegos a little bit, and he's still a solid pitcher. And I I I don't know, man. He's our holds guy. He's gonna come in those high leverage situations right behind Helsley. He only had about 50 innings pitched this year, which is kind of abnormal for him. So we're gonna look to get him back up to that 80 innings pitched mark. But other than that, man, his saber metrics are insane. I mean, he's in the 92nd percentile for expected batting average, which just means people aren't hitting against him. Pitchers also have that expected weighted on base average, and he's in the 84th percentile of that. His whiff percentage is in the 94th percentile. So all the metrics look great for him, and I'm excited. I don't have much else to say about that other than I think he'll just have another Gallegos year.
hmm Yeah, I mean, the we talked about it. The only concern that I think falls in the Gallegos court is the pitch clock. I mean, he obviously
Yeah.
just takes a lot of time in order to get his pitches out of his hand. And that can really screw with the timing of a pitcher's windup, his approach to each batter, each pitch. So when you're thinking about the psychology of the sport, that could be a negative in his area. But at the same time, you can't go wrong. Yeah, the reason I think he had 50 innings pitched last season was because Palante just kind of showed that he was Mr. Reliable. Um, and so I think that it's something that he'll get more opportunities this year, and he'll just again go out and have a Gallegos year. To round out my last offensive pick, I guess I could have just left Paul DeYoung because I didn't realize how many pitchers you had or anything. But I'll go with Alec Burleson. And even though Paul DeYoung didn't play last year, there's still a lot of questions around Burleson and what his potential is. So I don't think it's bad value for value going 9 and 10 there. But when it comes to Burleson, like I said, I mean there wasn't a lot to really go off of. He played only 16 games in the majors. It was really his power potential that brought him up to the uh, the bench spot that he has. He did hit 20 home runs last year in AAA, um, and I mean he's not striking out a whole lot. That's another thing. His K percentage in AAA was 14.3%, which is really good. I wish he would walk a little bit more, but I guess that you're not asking from this kind of guy. His average was also insane. So over 109 games, he had a 331 average in AAA. So he is an offensive force, but at the same time, when he hit the big leagues, I mean, he was kind of flash fried into it where there wasn't a lot that he got to experience. He didn't get to see a whole lot before the postseason, and like I just don't think he had a whole lot to kind of get his feet under him. So I think with more games played and more at bats, he'll really shine, and that's why he'll be my last pick of the draft.
Yeah, I'm not worried at all about his small sample size. He's one of our top prospects that kind of got overlooked because of Gorman, but he's a solid player, should be good. And I just didn't want to get stuck with those bench guys, which I'm kind of happy now looking at my list how I kind of navigated this draft because like I said, I definitely didn't want to get stuck with the young,
Mm-hmm.
and then we don't know if Burleson will have a role with us. Most likely it'll be a platoon role, but Gorman's there too, so we don't really know yet. So we'll see. But I'm taking a pick that I've mentioned before what I like about him, but I don't think you can guess it. Who do you think my second relief, my last pick in round 10, but my second relief pitcher? Who do you think I have?
Dakota Hudson. No, I think it's Chris Stratton.
Ooh, you nailed it.
Yeah.
Is that because I mentioned that I liked him before?
Yeah, it's because you you kind of gave it away, but I do think that Chris Stratton is a good pick.
Chris Stratton. All right. Now everyone's probably tired of me talking about sabermetrics, but it matters, all right? Like these numbers matter. Chris Stratton he is in the 99th percentile of his fastball spin and his curveball spin. So he has one of the best fastballs and curveballs in the
Mm-hmm.
game. I
Yeah.
mean, he could be one of our top relievers this year, and people are probably saying, "No way, you're crazy." We got this guy from the Pirates for almost nothing. Like how could Stratton be that good? And I just think that those metrics don't lie. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's what pitchers want is that spin rate. And I don't know. I'm just excited for Stratton. I'm happy I got Gallegos with him. I was thinking I was gonna end up with Palante and Stratton, but I'm just fine with my Gallegos and Stratton. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped about that pick, even though it could totally not work, and who knows
Mm-hmm.
because relievers are so iffy.
Yeah, and Fangraphs projections even has different things that they're projecting his ERA to go down. They're projecting his BABIP to go down. They're looking at all those things too and saying that this guy's a force to be reckoned with. And like you said, I remember that curveball just snapping out of his hand, and the fact that he can be what we need him to be. I think that's a really great pick, and especially like you said, the Cardinals got him for nothing. So. Um, I
Yeah,
think it's great
let
value
me
for the Cardinals and great value for your little draft there.
let me look up another stat really quick. So he had a 4.26 ERA this season in 2022, and his FIP. This is what I wanted. His FIP is a 3.32. So when you have a really good fielding independent pitching, that just means that it's another one of those metrics that you look at to see how a pitcher should be doing, kind of thing. And a whole point of ERA is significant whenever it comes to FIP, and
Hmm.
I could see him getting down to that 3-ish ERA, and I'm excited for it.
For sure. Well, that rounds out the draft. Let's kind of go over. I'll go over my picks. You can go over your picks, and then we'll kind of wrap this up. But in round number one, I got Nolan Arenado, two Miles Michaelis, Tommy Edman at number three, Ryan Helsley at number four, Tyler O'Neill at number five, Adam Wainwright number six, Nolan Gorman at number seven, Andre Palante at number eight, Paul DeYoung, let's go, number nine, and then Alec Burleson, number 10. Um, why don't you list yours off?
Yeah, I got Goldie round one, Contreras round two, Nootbaar round three, Jack Flaherty round four, Jordan Montgomery round five, Brendan Donovan round six, Juan Yepes round seven, Dylan Carlson round eight, Gallegos round nine, and Stratton in the last round of round 10.
Yeah. Some things that I really like about your draft. I really like Jack Flaherty and Newt Barr. I think those two guys are have so much upside this season. I like the first two picks, obviously, and then Monty as well. I think a lot of people are forgetting about him and the season that he had. He wasn't just good with the Cardinals; he was good all around with the Yankees too. So, um, yeah, I think we both picked really well. And I think
Yeah,
what it really says is that this Cardinals team isn't as bad as everybody keeps complaining about.
I know it makes it for tough decisions, which is a good thing. And the main thing I like about your draft is, like I mentioned, is you picked a lot of the old reliables. There are a few iffy picks, especially DeYoung. I just don't see it happening this year.
Hmm.
And then Burleson, we don't know. O'Neal, hopefully he does. Everyone's keeping their fingers crossed for O'Neal. Hopefully he's not just a platoon player. But yeah, we'll see.
Definitely. Other than that, I don't think we have a whole lot left. It is Super Bowl Sunday. You got any big plans for to watch the game?
You know, I was thinking about going somewhere, and I still might, but meal prepping some smoked ribs sounds much better. I'd take about 6 hours to do my ribs, and I'm thinking about doing that, but I'm not 100% sure yet.
Yeah.
What about you? You got some plans?
Just going over to the parents' house, forced my dad to get a new TV, which will be really cool. They had a 55-inch TV from about like almost 10 years ago, and there were burnt out pixels in the top right of the screen, and I was just getting so annoyed by it. I was like, Dad, you got to replace that. And he's like, Oh, we will. When there's a sale. I was like, there are sales all the time. I was like, okay, it's Super Bowl Sunday. You people, you invited us over, so I'm not going over to your house and watching it on a crappy TV. And he's like, no, you're right, you're right, you're right.
Yeah,
So we went to Best Buy. We got a new TV.
nice.
So that should be fun. I'm just gonna eat. I'm gonna pig out, and
Yeah,
then regret everything after that.
that's the thing is I kind of just want to go for the food.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I'm kind of torn in between. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the breaks. Hopefully, as a Missourian, the Chiefs bring out a win. But other than that, I don't care. I don't care about Rihanna being there either. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't care. I just want
They
baseball.
don't
So,
even make good commercials anymore. So it's like you can't even watch
well,
it for the
they
commercials.
play them all before the game anyway. Like
Yeah.
they've been all over my Twitter feed. I've been trying not to watch
Right.
them so
Yeah.
that I can
Yeah.
I can watch them when they happen. So, other than that, I think that about does it. With that, we are the Red Jacket Club. You can find us on Twitter at red_jacket club. Instagram has the same handle. YouTube, you can find this video that you're watching now or other videos that we have done in the past. And let us know what you think. Give us a shout in the comments or on Twitter. Feel free to just subscribe if you're seeing this for the first time. And then what else? Pretty soon we're gonna start getting ready for our season. We're gonna have a little spring training ourselves,
Heck
which should
yeah.
be fun. And hopefully we can make a little content around that. I think I have all the equipment to be able to record that stuff, which should be fun. Um, yeah, and so thank you for listening and thank you for watching. If you would like to find us, go to all those things that I previously mentioned, and feel free to give us a conversation, have a conversation with us. We like to talk baseball. But this has been the Red Jacket Club. Again, thank you for listening and watching. Thank you for joining the club, and we'll see you next time.